400 stanzas. On the Middle Way. With commentary by Gyel-tsap. Chapter 4. Abandoning Pride. The antidote destroying the seeds of conceptions of a self is explained in the last 8 chapters of this text. Here, the antidote to overcome manifest conceptions of a self is explained. Moreover, since kings are very proud, the conceptions of I and mine are explained mainly with reference to them. By considering oneself praiseworthy, arrogant pride arises, thinking, I am the owner, which is a conception of the self, and these things are mine. This does not occur in the excellent who think correctly about the state of worldly existence. Generating such pride might be appropriate if a certain person could have control over a certain thing throughout all lives. However, all things, such as different places, are the same in that through the power of previous actions they will eventually be used by all ordinary embodied beings. For example, forests and houses are common property. It is also like an actor. An actor plays the part of a king for a while and then appears as a minister, a Brahmin, a householder, and a servant. Similarly, a king performs in the 5 transmigrations and will not remain in the same role forever.
Assertion: since all worldly enterprises are under the king's control, pride is appropriate. Answer: after the crops of wild rice, which were not planted by the people of the first era, declined and land was apportioned, people began stealing each other's harvest. For protection, they gave 1/6 of their harvest as payment to the person they appointed to guard their fields and called him the king. How then can it be appropriate for you, the king, to feel arrogant, when you are the servant of a community of many people, paid with 1/6 of the harvest? It is inappropriate to claim proudly, I control all activities. Your becoming the agent of an action depends upon your being placed in control and appointed agent by the people. For instance, it is inappropriate for a servant to feel proud when his master delegates a task to him. When a servant is put in charge of a particular task, his master depends on him to do it, but this dependence does not justify pride on the servant's part.
Assertion: pride is appropriate because a king controls the giving and getting of wealth. Answer: when those in the king's care receive their annual wages due for service rendered, they think of themselves as inferior and of their master as the giver. Their master with conceit and arrogance thinks, I am the giver, when he gives those in his care the wealth to be given. This is inappropriate and like feeling proud of being a benefactor because of paying employees their wages. Assertion: pride is appropriate because a king is free to enjoy all objects. Answer: it is not appropriate. What wrongly appears as a cause for superlative happiness to you, king, is seen as a source of suffering by those with discriminating wisdom and disciplined senses. Since you experience uninterrupted suffering in the process of protecting large communities of people and must live by working for others, it is not a cause only for happiness. How can this cause you pleasure when it is a source of many problems, like the craving for women, liquor, and so forth? It is inappropriate, for instance, to feel glad at being appointed to punish thieves.
Assertion: pride is appropriate because a king is the protector of his people. Answer: pride merely because of that is inappropriate. A king may feel proud because he protects his people, but it also seems that the ruler himself is protected by the people, since he could not be the king unless they protected him. In that case, why be arrogant because of the one? Why not be free from arrogance because of being protected? It is inappropriate to be proud. It is like the following analogy: when both husband and wife look after each other, pride is inappropriate. A husband told his wife, I have to endure hundreds of difficulties, while you can just sit at home comfortably without any problems. She replied, why don't you stay at home for a day to do the work and you'll see what it's like? He did and felt depressed. It is also like the lion and the forest. The lion protects the forest and the forest protects the lion.
Assertion: pride is appropriate because a king has the merit of protecting everyone like his own children. Answer: at present, when people are strongly involved in the 5 degenerations, most are untrustworthy and engaged in non-virtue, because in each caste, such as the Brahmin caste and so forth, people prefer their own work and it is therefore difficult to make a living without any problems. When you seize a 6th part of their merit, you become non-virtuous because you also seize a 6th part of their ill deeds. Since good rebirths will therefore be scarce for you, arrogance is inappropriate. It is like a leper who instead of taking medicine wants to drink milk and eat fish, which will aggravate his disease. Not only does a king perform many ill deeds, but he adds to these the wrong actions done by others. Assertion: pride is appropriate because a king is the protector of his people and independent. Answer: that is not so. Someone who does not do work that must be done and which he can do, but acts only at the insistence of others is called a fool on this earth. Since a king's actions depend on the requests and insistence of others, there is no one else at all so dependent on others as you. Therefore it is unjustified to feel proud. For instance, it is not appropriate for someone who catches and frees dogs and monkeys for others to feel proud.
Assertion: pride is appropriate because the protection of his people against harm from others depends on the king. Answer: who is as merciless as a king who performs ill deeds? None. Claiming that the protection of his people depends on him, when his people do not make a large payment, he takes by force and himself performs many ill deeds such as killing. He is like a bad physician who, greedy for money, does not relieve pain at once but only gradually. A butcher was grinding bones when a splinter got into his eye. He went to a physician who, instead of removing the splinter, gave him medicine to relieve the pain. The splinter continued to cause trouble, necessitating numerous visits to the physician who charged for each consultation. Eventually the physician left town. The butcher's son managed to remove the splinter, which finally brought lasting relief. Likewise, kings take money from the people but do not do their work. Assertion: if wrongdoers are not punished, it is detrimental to others. Therefore, to protect the people it is proper to exact punishment. Answer: that is not so.